Real estate, 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 real estate.
Peace family, it's Richard Gilbo, owner of Rich Properties and Holdings and Pinstar, and today I want to give you another video on wholesaling, and this one is just kind of showing you the strategies and some ways to get started that are low cost or no cost to you. So a lot of times when you're getting into wholesaling, you might have heard of it and you're at a job, you want to get rid of that job, you want to make some money on the side, you want to start your own business, and whenever you're doing that, you might not have a lot of money to start, so this is definitely a good way to start. Rich Properties and Holdings, my company, we've had the pleasure of having over $200 million in commercial real estate for dispositions all over the United States. So we know how to find buyers, we know how to find sellers, and this is definitely a good way to start if you're in residential. This is actually how I started. I got my very first deal driving for dollars, and I've got a few deals since then driving for dollars as well. So definitely a good way to start, low cost to no cost. And driving for dollars is where you drive around and you'll find houses that are physically, they look distressed. There's tall grass, there's no mailbox, there's a tarp on the roof, it is boarded up windows, the windows are broken, things like that. The ugliest houses in the nice neighborhoods that you can physically tell are abandoned. Even small things like everyone else's trash is out for trash day and the trash cans for that house are way in the back of the house. Just small things like that. You'll be able to find properties driving for dollars and be able to reach out to the owner. So once you find these vacant houses, you'll go to the county tax assessor, the website, and you can research the house. You'll find a mailing address. Once you get that, you can send them a handwritten letter, you can send them a postcard, or you can actually drive to the house and knock on the door and say, hey, I see you have this vacant house on 123 Main Street. Are you interested in selling it? However you want to do that. Share of auctions. A lot of people, they know of these strategies, but a lot of people aren't really using it. A lot of people are sitting in front of the laptop or the computer and they're just looking at PropStream or whatever other kind of data provider they use, and they're not getting the full benefit of it. You have to drive for dollars. Driving for dollars is very beneficial. A lot of guys that you might have heard of that you pay attention to probably got their first deal driving for dollars. A lot of people use the list, and the lists are good, but driving for dollars is another way that you can get started. If you don't have money for direct mail, you don't have money for a data provider like PropStream, if you don't have money to skip trace, driving for dollars is the way to go. All of these strategies are actually very low to no cost. So, share of auctions. When you go to a share of auction, so there's two different ways you can do this. One way, the share of auctions are auctions where people are losing their house to foreclosure or tax. They way behind on taxes and they'll sell their property. So, depending on where you are, you might be in a tax deed state or a tax certificate state. This will be on a whole nother video. But you can go online and you'll see where they have auctions that are happening a month ahead or 2 months ahead of time, in the future. And what you can do is reach out to those sellers. So if their house is on that list, that means they're about to lose their house. They're either in foreclosure so far behind that they have to sell it, or they're so far behind on taxes that they're going to get the house taken from them. So when you reach out to them, don't even say, hey, I seen your house on the share of auction. You might want to just say, hey, I see you have a house on 123 Main Street. Are you interested in selling it? And you'll get some people that are really easy to work with, and you'll also get some people who are really hard to work with. A house might be worth $250,000, but they want $1 million for it. Although they're still about to lose the house. So that's when you bring it up and say, look, I seen your house on the sheriff auction. Do you want to get some money for it, or do you want to get nothing for it? Because when you reach out to these people, you're doing them a service, because a lot of people don't know their options. They don't know you exist. They don't know they can find cash buyers, and that's your job to bring that to them in order to provide them a quick sale for the house. Because if they lose it, it's going to go on there. Like if they get foreclosed on, it's going to drop their credit score like 150 points. It's going to be on there for years to come, and it's going to really decrease their chances of getting approved for a loan in the future. So you're actually helping them out. So reach out to them on the Sheriff Auctions website. Also, the other way, if you go to these auctions, there are people there who are buyers. They're cash buyers. If they pick their hand up, they bid on the house and they win, they have to pay that cash for that property that same day before like 2 o'clock in some places. So for sure the guys that are raising their hand bidding on things are cash buyers. And there'll probably be like 100 of them there. But there's 5 or 6 of them in the back somewhere, probably sitting with their leg crossed, not even bidding on most of the houses while everyone else bidding. And these guys, when they pick their hand up, you might as well not even bid anymore, because that's the house they want and that's the house they're going to get. You'll see them. They'll be in the back, raise their hand every now and then. And whenever they raise their hand on that property, they're going to get that property, regardless of what's going on around it, regardless of what you bid on. They have the cash and they'll buy that property. So those are the guys you want to reach out to. Not just the 5, but reach out to all of them. Some of them might just be getting started, and you might have a property for that person, but they're not on that level as the other 5 or 6 people that's in the back. But definitely reach out to all of them. Say, hey, I actually talked to this owner for this property a few months ago before it even came to auction. So there's possibilities that I'll get properties before they go to auction, and you don't have to go through this whole bidding process. You can get these houses from me for cheaper. And so you present yourself that way as a guy with off-market deals, not just a person off the street, but an actual businessman. You have business cards, website, all of those things we talked about in another video, or in a future video, depending on when you're seeing this. But sheriff auctions is definitely the way to go. You can find buyers there. You go online, you can find sellers. Lowe's and Home Depot, I don't know why, but I tell a whole bunch of people about this strategy and nobody really knows about it. You go to Lowe's and Home Depot and just think about it, or a hardware store. Just think about it, lumberyard. Why are those people there? If they're over there buying a whole bunch of lumber, they're probably fixing up rental properties, or they're probably getting ready to flip something. You're either going to find buyers there. You're going to find buyers there. You could potentially find sellers, but you'll also find contractors. And what's good about contractors or filter sources is that they work for multiple investors. They don't just work for one sometimes. So, you reach out to the contractors or whoever is buying the most material. Just reach out to everyone. It's just take a couple seconds of your time to just introduce yourself, tell them what you do. Just like you presented yourself to the guy at the auction. Hey, I have off-market properties at deep discounts, and I can present them to you if you're interested. And then you kind of interview them and make sure that they meet your criteria as far as what you want your buyers to look like. So you'll find landlords there. You'll find flippers there. And the difference between landlords and flippers, if you didn't know, is that flippers typically pay less for properties than a landlord would, because flippers are looking to make a big profit in a short amount of time. So, flippers might pay 65 cents on the dollar, whereas a landlord might pay 75 cents, so not too much difference, but still any difference is a good difference, especially if you're trying to make a little fee, and you're also helping the buyer out by giving him inventory, and you're helping the seller out by giving them a fast cash close. So sometimes these sellers need that, and having buyers on your team with different strategies, diversified portfolio of buyers will also open you up to more options, be able to get you more fees in some cases, and also just disposition properties that you normally wouldn't be able to sell to typical buyers, so Lowe's and Home Depot. So another thing, when you go there, these people that are fixing up houses probably have multiple houses, and they're probably tired of fixing those houses up. So, when you present yourself, hey, I have investors that I deal with. We purchase cash. If you have any properties that you're looking to sell, or if you're looking to buy, then we always have off-market deals, and we're always looking to purchase off-market deals as well. Then, having that conversation with them might get you sellers as well, because some of those guys, they're landlords, they own 20, 30 houses, and we'll talk about that again later on when we talk about for rent and for sale by owners. Then, they own 20, 30 houses, they're tired of fixing things up, so you never know. Just reach out to people at Lowe's and Home Depot, because they're there to fix up houses most of the time. So, meet them where they are. For sale by owners. My first deal I found driving for dollars. I talked to a for sale by owner. I got the house under contract at $40,000. I actually didn't even get it under contract. I didn't even know how the process worked. I just knew to find a house that was a little less than what everyone else in the market was going for, other houses. And so I reached out to this guy on LinkedIn or Facebook, and he came the same day. And I thought it was a good thing, but he came the same day after he looked up the house, and after I gave him a price. I told him $45,000 for this $40,000 house. He looked up the house, he looked up the price, and he said, hey, I'm coming to get it. So I think it was the same day he drove down. I didn't even have it under contract. I didn't even know how to do it. I didn't have contracts. So he looked at the house, and I had to leave my buyer with my seller for my house that wasn't under contract, to go to the library to look up contracts, to print one out, and to sign it with the seller and the buyer. And I think I had to leave twice. It was bad. But me not understanding, not knowing my numbers, I actually just got started on YouTube. I sat down for like 2-3 weeks while I was in the middle of transitioning, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna get out there and go, So I went out there and found this deal. But anyway, so once I got the contract, I put on a contract with a seller. But I think I had to go back and get another contract and put on a contract with the buyer. I had to get assignment agreement. So it's just a funny story. But I made $5,000 off of that first deal, and I should have made like 15, 20. But not knowing my numbers, you leave money on the table. So it's also good to have your education up front. Learn those things, get a mentor, somebody who's been doing it for some time that can help you out and kind of, make sure that you're getting the best, or you're helping these sellers out the best that you can and giving the buyers good deals, because you want to have good relationships with your buyers. These buyers are going to be buying from you more than once. Now, that doesn't mean that you let them talk you down on your price if you know your price is good. That just means that you bring them good inventory, so you don't have to drop your price just because they want you to facilitate that relationship, because you don't need people like that in your life. You don't want people that's going to try to take money out of your pockets just because. If the deal is not good and it doesn't work, then yeah, we can drop the price. But otherwise, if you just want a discount just because you want it, just because you don't value my services, then we don't need to do business. You can find your houses somewhere else. So for sale by owners, they are for sale by owner for a reason. They're not going with a realtor because they want to try to sell it on their own, or a realtor's going to take too long, or they want to keep more money in their pockets. Because think about it. When you sign with a realtor, most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, the house is going to stay on the market for a while. So what that means is that if they're living in the house, they're going to have what's called carrying costs. Carrying costs is where you living in the house, so you have all the expenses to pay. You have to pay the utilities. You got to make sure you keep the grass cut and everything. The utilities is the biggest expense. Living in the house, you have to have everything on. So while you're waiting for your house to sell 2, 3, 4 months, you have to pay those utilities for 2, 3, 4 months. Also, if your property is on the market for 4 months and you get a buyer, it's more than likely not going to be a cash buyer. They're going to be going through the bank, which is going to take 45 to 60 days for them to get their money. So that's 6 months right there. They're going to be paying for that house for 6 more months. So they're losing money every single month paying those expenses. Also, you got to pay the realtor. So, I'm not a big fan of taking money out of anyone's pocket. So I'm not going to tell my realtor, hey, I know you charge 6%, but I'll give you 4% for this property. I want to make sure everyone eats whenever they're dealing with me. So I'm not going to cut their price. So, you might have started out at $100,000. Now, after 6 months of paying for these expenses, you've been paying $500 a month. That's $3,000. Plus, you got to pay your 6% to the realtor. That's $6,000. That's $9,000 that you're losing already. Plus, they're going to negotiate down the price. Regardless of whatever you had it on the market for, after all of that time, you're going to go down on your price because it's not selling. So there must be some reason. The location is good, but the price is not. So, you got to drop the price for that. So you're losing money that way. Then once you drop the price, they're still going to talk you down some. So you're losing money from negotiations. And a lot of times you'll end up, the homeowner will end up almost around the same price that you would get them as a wholesale deal. So they're not really wasting out. They're not missing out on a lot of money. They are saving a lot of time though. So that's where you position yourself and say, look, I know XYZ. You go to a realtor, you'll have this much fees. You're going to also have to pay your own closing costs, so that's some more money that comes out of pocket. And if you work with me, I have investors, or I am an investor, where we can close on this deal in 21 days, and I can pay you all cash. Now, you'll get less with me, but we'll save you a lot of time. So that's a good way to look at it. And also, for sale by owners, you can also educate them in the process. So while you're educating them, even if they don't work with you, they might know someone else who's looking to sell a property and they want to go with you. I mean, think about it. We're in 2021 right now, recording this video. And 2020 just happened. COVID just happened. A lot of people lost their jobs, they lost their income, and they're going to be losing their houses more than likely. So you also want to have good relationships with your sellers. Even if you don't sell with them, if you don't do business with them, at least educate them on the process. Tell them what I just told you about the realtor and all the fees. And, they might still want to go that route. And then maybe later on down the line, they might say, well, this guy was actually right. It took him 4 months to get to sell this property. And maybe we should call him back for our other 3 that we have to sell that we just inherited, or whatever whatever happens. But also just make sure you're being ethical. Talk to everyone. Have good conversations. Build rapport. and look for business down the line. For rents, when you're driving for dollars, you find these for sale by owners and these for rents. A lot of people skip over the for rents, but for rents, in my opinion, are one of the best things, because if you think about it logically, a for rent house is a landlord. Like I mentioned earlier, landlords pay typically more for houses than flippers would. So first, you're reaching out to a guy or a woman who has a property that they're renting or multiple properties, and you'll tell them, look, I see your house is for rent. Are you looking to sell it instead? And you'll be amazed that a lot of these guys who or women who have these rentals are older, senior citizens, 65 or older, and they're managing these properties on their own. They're tired of doing those repairs, like we mentioned about the people in Lowe's and Home Depot. They're tired of doing those repairs. They're tired of consistently putting people in and out of the houses, and they want to sell. They got 20, 30 houses. They want to sell them. And but you wouldn't know because you skip over the for rents. Call all of those people. Those are people who might be motivated to sell. So I actually, when I found a for rent house, I actually called, and I had a seller, older guy. He owned 100 houses, and he owned a 100-unit apartment building. He was looking to sell everything. And I tried to buy the apartments from him, but, long story short, he wanted too much for them. He wanted more than what they would appraise for, and, it won't work like that. But also with the 100 houses, I had the opportunity of selling one and still have a whole bunch of other deals from him that he might be looking to sell in the near future. So eventually, this guy's going to want to get rid of all his stuff, or he is a cash buyer. He has $5-6 million right now in his pocket that he's looking for strip malls for, and I'm the one to find that for him, because I specialize in commercial real estate as well. So, you never know, but all of that relationship just from a for rent sign. Also, a lady I know had some kind of health issues. She has 60 houses, and she wants to sell 30 of them. And that's all from calling her for rent sign. So you never know. For rents, for sales, for sale by owners, Home Depot, Lowe's, share of auctions, and driving for dollars. These are all, if you think about it, these are all just driving around and having conversation. Look presentable, make sure your hair is cut, make sure your beard shaved, and, have good conversation. Know what you're talking about, know your numbers, don't lie, be ethical, and you should definitely be able to get your first deal or multiple deals down the line. So, if you are looking to get into some strategies where you can direct mail, you can, skip trades, you can have your own CRM, because once you're doing these things, if you're doing this consistently, I always recommend getting 100 houses per week when you're driving for dollars. So if you're getting 100 houses, you're probably going to get maybe 10, 15 good leads that week. And you're going to need to put those leads somewhere. You're going to need a CRM. So you might not have money for a CRM. You might not have money for bandit signs or skip tracing or, direct mail or whatever it is. You might not have money for decent clothes. I can actually get that for you with business credit. If you call us at penstarllc.com, you can look us up there, or you can call us 844-956-1448, and I can help you to get the business credit that you might need to get to your seminars, so you can learn more. You can, do bandit signs. I actually have another video coming out talking about what you can actually do with this business credit for your wholesaling business. It doesn't have to be old. It can be brand new. And you don't have to have any cash flow or credit, and we can still get you financing to get your foot in the door to start doing these strategies and higher level strategies as well to start getting you deals. You can pay for cold callers, it's a ton of different strategies, and I'll do a video on it. So I appreciate you guys taking your time, paying attention to this video. Make sure you follow these steps that I put out, these tips, especially if you're brand new, and make sure you always look professional and presentable when you go to these appointments, and know what you're talking about, know your numbers, don't lie. A lot of wholesalers are lying nowadays. I don't know who's teaching them, but do not follow those steps. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.
The profit we get, we invest it right back in the property. I flip it. Feel like I'm in the Olympics, and this my gymnasium.